And we are live, catching up with Japan, taking the early lead of 2-0, about 30 seconds into this one. I'm Colin Emerson, joined courtside by Jess Kruger. And here we have France with the ball. It's Morel, takes a tough one to corral in his body, but is able to get it to Hevermat, who circles in wide, trying to find a lane as he's blocked out, but it looks like he's going to find the middle. Japan with one last stand. And what do we have here, Jess? Yeah, it seemed like France was trying to contest that goal line, maybe too aggressively. And that's what we saw in Canada's game yesterday, that aggressive down court pressure was able to provide them with a victory. And now we do have a Japan inbound here, 51 seconds into this contest. A long lob overhead, and Japan has the ball, looking for Ikizaki down court. He gets it and is pursued by Hevermat, but Ikizaki is able to take that in. And now it's a France inbound. It's Leguen. Finds Hevermat in for a short pass. Hevermat trying to negotiate his way through the check of Ikizaki. Now Ike in it to help him as well, but he finds a wide route. It's Hevermat trying to go all the way through, and he will be able to. A great play by Hevermat after some good picks. And France is able to get on the board for the first time in this one. Japan off the inbound. Looking for a long hook. It's Ike to Ikizaki. Japan trying to get over center. That's a great wing pass to Ike. And he'll find the route as he gets some picks on the backside. So Japan sticking with their 3-point lead, 4-1. About a minute and a half into this one, as Morel has it now for France. Morel trying to get away from Ike. Now he does. He slows it down over center. Ikizaki looking to contact him. Not really able to stop him. Gets it to Hevermat again, and Hevermat is able to score. Japan again with the ball. It's Ikizaki looking for an option. Gets a nice pick. Is able to stride over center. He's got a man wide. That's a May. And they are able to score. So Ikizaki doing a good job here, running Japan's offense, and is able to convert on most of his opportunities. France looking to counter again. It's Hevermat. Pump fake. Now he's double teamed, and he's forced to take a timeout. Yes, they're definitely putting the pressure on down court, and this time it forces France to use their timeout.
So each team gets 4 timeouts throughout the game. So obviously they're trying to hang on to them for those sort of emergency moments where they need that bailout option, but I'm sure Japan is looking to force France to sort of use those up early on.
Yes, as we saw in Canada's game yesterday, which is the other one I commentated, when you do use those timeouts, I call them your get out of jail free card, and when you use those, it is pretty disruptive to the rest of your game plan. As again, the down court pressure by Japan trying to get Morel in his own zone, but he's able to power out through the check of Ike, and now Morel has it again just over center, but again he's heavily pursued. Japan not making his job easy. He has not much speed. And now he's double teamed, but gets a pick from Leguen. Spinning around, now he eagerly wants to get into the offensive zone, and he finds a wide route. Can't quite do it, but now he'll be able to. Nope, not yet.
Saw him pass that ball off to his fellow player there and allowed him to push in and score that goal right at the final moment there.
But again, you see that full court press of Japan, whether it's in the defensive zone or all the way to their goal line, they are just pressuring all the way. As again, it's Ikizaki converting for Japan.
So we've got Team Japan ranked at number 2 in the world right now against France, who's ranked at number 5. So we kind of expected to see Japan pull ahead in this game. Obviously, they're leading right now 6-3. But it seems like France is really holding their own. It'll be interesting to see how they progress throughout.
Perfect. And we Now have France with the ball. It's Hevermat spinning back, looking for an option. He gets a nice pick from Nankin. One over the top, and he's able to get it. That's Morale there. He converts. So it's a 2-point game now. Off to Japan inbound.
See the referee putting the ball on the ground there. Team Japan was taking too long to get that inbound.
And an upper there. Puts it into space, and Japan's able to get it. It's Ikizaki. So he's clearly the straw that stirs the drink. And him and Ike on the front end for Japan. Converted most of their points so far.
Yeah, you see Ike being one of the more dominant players for Team Japan on the floor right now. His chair setup's a bit different from the other athletes. He's sitting a lot higher. It gives him that height advantage against all those other players.
Especially when you also have those long arms to reel in the ball.
Exactly.
Hevermat back the other way, goes wide. Pursued by MA, but is able to beat the heat. Now he takes some big contact, but is able to lob the ball ahead, and Morel will convert. So a good job of France there of taking the contact to make the play and convert on the score there. And now we talk about those long arms, and they come to use there as Ikizaki is the recipient of that great pass.
You see how easily he got that inbound as well. He's just sitting so much higher in front of that player in front of him that's trying to defend and can't stand a chance.
Again off the inbound. Comes in short. And he's able to find his man, but now he's converged on hard. That's Hevermat. He's able to lob it back to Morel, who's now in trouble as he's double teamed and he's forced to take a timeout. So we talked about it off the hop, and again, that aggressiveness by Japan all over the court is already paying dividends as it's forced France to take 2 timeouts already.
Team Japan looking pretty happy about forcing that timeout.
And what do you do, Jess, if you're the player in the position where you're just getting pressured all over the court? How do you kind of beat the heat?
Yeah, I mean, I think in that situation, Team France played it exactly as they could. They got caught down low. They knew that they only had 12 seconds to get that ball over that half line, so they used their timeout. I mean, they're there to be used, and that was kind of their bailout option. We see Japan taking more of a defensive role now. They've dropped down into the key. They're allowing France to cross over half. They're not putting that immediate pressure on them. I think they're feeling comfortable with their lead right now.
And it's France with the ball. It's Hevermat trying to squeeze his way through as he's a recipient of a few good picks. Not right away as Japan forces him back outside the key. Now he tries to find the outside route. Hevermat again getting some good picks from his teammates, but Japan not making his job easy, and they're forced to use another timeout. So France using 3 of their timeouts, Japan with a 3-point lead, so not quite as wide as it could have been without those timeouts. 3:50 to go in the opening quarter, Japan leading 8-5.
So we saw there's a 40-second shot clock running. Their clock was down to 0. That's why they were forced to use that timeout. You have possession for 40 seconds each team, and you've got to score within that time. And if that doesn't happen, it would be a turnover for the other team. So forcing them to use another timeout there.
And now it's France on the inbound. Could be one back for Hevermat, rejected out of his hands, and now whose ball is it?
It's going to be a turnover.
So France really struggling, 2 straight timeouts and then a turnover. Not a great sequence for them.
Sometimes we see those timeouts getting used up early in the game, and it kind of forces the team to actually push a little harder, and sometimes you'll see them come back from having no timeouts and playing a better game.
Ike to Ame, who converts for Japan. So they're up by 4, haven't used a timeout, but have forced France to use their hand on 3 in the first quarter, 3:37 to go.
Looks like Japan's getting ready to make some substitutions here.
Shulman off the inbound. And it's a drop back. Now it's Hevermat. Hevermat trying to get over center, pursued by Ikizaki. Ike also with him for the double team, but he's able to get it up and ahead. And Nicholas as well working for France, trying to get the ball free, and it's out. And we do have some substitutions here. Let's see what we have. Japan making a few swaps. France remaining with the guys they had on the court. Ogawa on the inbound for Japan. Gets it up and over, and a 1 quick pass There to Hashimoto, able to spin back with it. Finds a great lane. What a powerful stride and good deception there to find that middle. First time we've seen Hashimoto in the game for Japan, and he makes his presence felt almost immediately. Heavermat trying to beat the heat of the Japanese defense in his own zone. Trying to make his life difficult, but he's able to... he has to spin back before he gets to center. Now he's got the line. First job done by Heavermat, but he's double teamed heavy and pushed back. He's in a pile of trouble, but finds his way out the wide route, spins back. A good pick there by Jarland, able to help him to get that wide route, and he takes full advantage. So great job by France there. It wasn't easy, but they were able to make it work off a good pick and some wide speed. Now Japan having a bit of trouble getting out of their own zone. Hashimoto puts one into space, and that is a great pass there. And Shimikawa is the recipient of that score for Japan.
We saw France's low pointer there was caught up high, so he called inbounder and was able to use that to his advantage. He wanted to make sure he could be back in the play, so he was able to leave his defender there and take that inbound.
Charlin off the inbound. Heavermat, a long lob. Jarlin is able to field that one down. Good field division there to scoop that one in from behind, catch it in his lap and convert. Ogawa off the inbound for Japan. Directing traffic, fakes his first scoop. Now trying to wait for a man. Hashimoto almost rejected out of his hands. Heavermat got a piece, but was unable to reject it. Now it's thrown into space, and it looks like Japan is going to win this one back, and they do, as Jarlin was unexpecting of that pass.
Really see the speed on Team Japan there. That pass appearing to be thrown to nobody, and he's able to easily navigate around everyone and get to it.
So it's France trying to work out of the backcourt. A one scooper up ahead. It's a slow pass, but it's able to be reeled in. And France almost able to score. Schalman is in there. Now he drops it back. Heavermat with a nice spin. Heavermat working his way outside the three-point line, trying to negotiate his way through the middle. Looks like he's going to do it with a swift move there. So it's clear for France that Heavermat runs, the offense runs through him for France.
So as we sort of come to the end of this quarter here, we're going to see them start to manage the clock. Ideally, you want to score somewhere around the 55-second mark to set yourself up for last goal. So we'll see here. I think probably France is going to look to try and do that on this play.
And again, it's France off the inbound. Schalman gives it to Heavermat, and Heavermat working his way out with this one. Using the pick of Schalman, trying to find a middle route, makes a lob pass over, and France is able to take that, and Heavermat gets it back. Heavermat trying to work his way through a couple of checks. He's able to get it down deep and back. But he's able to beat the heat again, find that middle route, wind his way all the way to the outside, and just put it in. 1:02 to go in the opening quarter. Japan up by 3, but have yet to use a timeout, whereas France has used 3 of their player timeouts. Still 2 coaches timeouts for each team as well. And now Japan wheeling its way out, as that is Shimikawa with a nice pass there, and Hashimoto is able to take that in.
So Japan scoring that right around that 51-second mark left in this quarter. They've set themselves up perfectly to have last goal, which is going to put them up 1 in the next quarter as well.
Of course, those little plays at the end of the quarters, managing the clock, really matters in the sport of wheelchair rugby, as Heavermat ducking and dodging through a few checks. He's got his head up. Of course, Team Japan wants that pressure as they've been giving all period. Heavermat still has a ball as he bounces it. He's going to try to wind his way through the middle, finding an outside route, and again, he converts. So with 30.1 seconds to go, it is now a Team Japan ball, and 30-second shot clock. They'll try to eat as much as they can, coming back down the other way. And it's Japan. It's Hashimoto winding out with it. Is able to beat Jarlin's hit. One scoop it up ahead, takes some heavy contact, but is able to get it to his man there. And now we get the shot clock countdown from the bench. They'll try to eat as much of this as they can. 5 to go. And they do eventually put it in there. So Shimikawa gets the final score for Japan. Does Team France have a miracle? No, they don't. So we go to the end of this first quarter with Japan leading 15-10. And like we said, that might be a bit deceptive because of all the pressure that Japan put all over France down the court, forcing them to use 3 of their 4-player timeouts.
Yeah, I think we're going to see France feeling that pressure, only having 1 timeout moving into the second quarter here. And we might see some more of those sort of Hail Mary passes over the shoulder or whatever they need to do to get that ball over, because once they eat up that last timeout, that's their only option.
Yeah, so France, I mean, they're coming into this one 0-2, but both of their 2 previous losses were only by 1 point. So some competitive losses here, maybe a little bit of a different story so far, but there is a lot of game to be played. But what does France basically have to do differently to try to establish themselves in this one?
I mean, I think this was going to be a hard game for France no matter what, but I'm actually impressed with sort of how they're keeping in the game, keeping that score, not too far apart. The mismatch in terms of experience for Team Japan, they have a lot of veteran players. They've been to many Paralympics. They've played together. They're super comfortable with one another, whereas Team France is maybe a little bit newer to playing with one another, newer at playing at this level, and I think there's just a bit of a speed mismatch as well. So this was going to be a hard game for them no matter what, and I think so far they're putting up a good show.
Yeah, and it's important, especially in these tournaments, which do prepare you for the Worlds, to kind of see how you stack against that top elite competition. So, as you mentioned, so far, so good, even though France is down by 5, but playing one of the better teams in the world with some great individual players.
Yeah, so just as we're about to go into this second quarter here, we want to take this opportunity to thank some of our sponsors. So the Government of Canada, Government of BC, Richmond Sport Hosting, and the Richmond Olympic Oval. All of those people have helped to make this tournament possible, and a big thank you to them.
Yeah, the volunteers as well, everyone who makes this work. So a lot goes into putting a great event like this together, and we thank everyone who's involved as we are ready to get underway in the second quarter. And France now with the ball. It's Jarlin trying to get away from EK. A 1 scooper up ahead, and France is able to take that one as Schalman gets it, drops it to Hevermat. Hevermat now spins it back to himself, delaying and taking his time, allowing his teammates to get set up here. Takes the wide route, waiting for the pick. Spinning back and forth. Now he's got a wide route, it looks like, and he does take it. So you see there as France really stopped up. It looked like they may have time to take charge, but they wanted to wait for their picks and offense to get set up, and it worked well for them.
Yeah, I think knowing they have that speed mismatch, they're going to need to use more of a strategic play for them. So utilizing their picks and taking their time is going to really work to their advantage here.
Ikizaki now trying to get Japan back on the board, and he's able to find a perfect little pocket on the far side and convert there. Now it's a France inbound. And it's Schalman off the inbound. Gets it to Hevermat. Hevermat looking for an option, but he's double teamed. He's got no speed. He needs some serious help, and it's going to force him to use their last player's timeout. So it just looked like a little bit of a miscue coming out of transition for France, and they weren't able to reestablish themselves moving forward.
Yeah, Japan's really collapsing on them right down low there, forcing them into a tough position. In that case, the ball carrier had his back to where he needed to make that pass, so he was kind of out of options.
Schalman again, short pass, and one more over to Hevermat. Ikizaki trying to make his life difficult, shattering every way. He gets a little bit of a pick from Schalman, but he's able to get it to Jarlin. One more to Hevermat. He's got some speed, and that's all he's going to need as he converts there. 1 minute, 9 seconds into this one. Japan still holding on to that 4-point lead. Of course, France has used all their player timeouts now. And Ikizaki's got it. He's all on his lonesome, but he's got that wide speed, and that's all he's going to need to convert. Schalman off the inbound. A short bounce pass, a little bit risky there, but he's able to get it to Jarlin. A short scooper to Valentim. He's able to get it in. Beat the heat of EK. Oh, one ahead, and that's rejected away by Amei, but I believe it was off him, so it's still a France ball, but nonetheless, good job by Japan to apply that pressure. Shulman off the inbound. Scooper, not a great pass, but just good for him that May wasn't able to see it until it was a bit too late. It looked like he could have cut in front of that one.
Yeah, you see that low pointer utilizing his bump pass there. It actually worked out perfectly for him to get it deep for that easy goal.
EK, look at that speed and long reach, as you mentioned, really up in his chair. You can notice it from here, and he does it all himself there to convert for Japan. Up again by 5, 6:20 to go in the second quarter. Shulman, Heavermat. Wheeling out wide, now he has to slow up. Conversion on Harpick, gets a nice pick from Jarlan. And he is going to be able to take it in there. Valentin also with a nice pick there for France, allowing that score to happen. And it's Ike. Short pass in there for Amai. And one more to Ikezaki. Ikezaki now with some great speed. Heavermat trying to keep up with him, but he's not going to be able to. Shulman again off the inbound. Jarlan beating the traffic wide. Doesn't have a lot of speed, but he's got a pick with him. Lobs it over the top. A slow lobber, but is able to work to Valentin, and he puts that one in for France, so good job there. Ike directing traffic as he comes up court. France collapsing in his own defense. Ikezaki got a wide route and some picks in the middle. Pump fakes, now goes one arm over the top to Ike, and he's able to score. Valentin, Heavermat, able to find his way down the bottom half of the court. He's got a man streaking down. That's Valentin, but he decides to take it himself. Trying to go to the middle, but he's converged on hard by Team Japan, but a couple good picks there enable France to score. Japan off the inbound. And they come forward with the ball. And now Japan will score as it's Ikezaki again. Open in the backcourt.
So we see for Team Japan right now, we actually have our first female player on the court. Wheelchair rugby is a co-ed sport, and Kai Kirahashi here is representing the women on the floor right now.
And it also is of note that you gain, is it half a point or a full point?
Yeah, so you get an extra half a point in terms of the classification system for wheelchair rugby when there is a female on the floor, so it ends up working to the team's advantage.
Heavermat now working on the offense for France. He's able to get by Ikezaki and score. And if you're a guy like Heavermat, where you're kind of known as the main ball carrier, same kind of thing with Bat yesterday, does it start to get tiring as you're constantly battling up the court with possession every time? But here, a steal by the aforementioned Heavermat, and he's able to gain possession. That's a big play for France. And 1 and 2, and Valentin is able to convert. So a big play there by France to lodge that loose and convert on a turnover. Kobatanai gets it back from Ike. Now Ikezaki. To Ike. To Kobatanai. All the way he started the play in the defensive end. Now he converts at the finish on the offensive end. So nice response there by Team Japan. And it's Shulman. Off the inbound. Now they're able to get it to Valentin. A little bit of trouble as he bobbled it a couple times, but is able to corral it with not a man on him and finds Heavermat. So can France build off the turnover that they've got? Gave them a little bit of life. Japan's converted twice since then. As Ikezaki spinning back with it. Looking for options. Gets a pick, which gives him some time to get over center. Kobatanai able to field that one down. He's got Ike deep court, but he's double teamed. Now Ike comes in to help him get the ball, and he pries it loose with those big arms and is able to get it to Ikezaki. Shulman, short pass to Heavermat. Long scoop over to Valentin. Doesn't like what he sees, goes back a little bit risky, but Heavermat able to field it down and get some speed in the middle. He's got Jarlan with him. Fakes him off. Now he's double teamed by a couple Japanese players. And he's able to go to the wide side, not much speed, trying to get to the middle, and he's able to get around Ikezaki to finally put it in. A long lob ahead. That's a great one, as Japan was already on the offense, as Ikezaki again converts. 3:24 to go in the second quarter. Japan up by 4. Have yet to use any of their timeouts, though, so they do have those in their back pocket.
Japan looking to make some substitutions once again here. You can only make a sub on a whistle that is not for a goal, so there haven't been any turnover whistles happening. They've been sitting here for a couple minutes in the box looking to sub in.
Yeah, it's got to be the worst feeling when you want to get in the action. Some heavy contact by Team Japan, but France is able to get over the top. Jarlin's now really pressured, but able to get it to Hevermat, negotiating his way through center. Waiting for some help, and he gets it from Charlin, and Jarlin looking for his options, trying to find a route with some picks. He's got one on the wide side, fakes middle, takes a little bit of contact from Ike, bounces the ball, and is looking for the wide side again. And what do we have? Is it 3 in the key there?
I think the player wheeled out of bounds there.
And now Japan will get their substitutions. It's let's see here, Norimatsu's out there, as well as Shimikawa. So Hashimoto out there as well, as Japan converts. Now it's France of the inbound. It's Schalman, Hevermat, spinning off a few checks, trying to find his way to center. He's pursued heavily, but he's able to get it. He's got a wide route now. Not much in his way to prevent this. And he gets thwarted at the line by Norimatsu, comes in there heavy. And he's able to get one over the top to Jarlin, who converts there as he backs his way in.
Oh, they're calling that no goal. So it's going to be a turnover there. Japan's ball.
Hashimoto working from his own zone. Shimikawa gets it now. Shimikawa gaining some speed. He's got Norimatsu with him. Takes it to the wide side as he's double teamed. Now Norimatsu gets it. And it's easy peasy for him. So a nice way to enter the game with a slick score and a good route down the wide side. Schalman. Valentin, and what do we have here? Oh, it looks like an equipment issue. We might be replacing a tire here. And indeed it is. Usually you hear the air with the tire, you hear the air release. You can even hear it from here. That time we didn't hear anything. But
yeah, I don't think it was a flat tire. I think it was just the axle on his chair had popped out there. So they've got that equipment guy running over and popping it back in for him.
And we are underway again. It's Jarlin spinning away from the Japanese heat as he's able to find a wide route. Shimikawa was all over him. Oh, he looks for Valentin, who was all tied up by Norimatsu, and that forces a turnover.
Japan coming in hot for this quarter here. They've had quite a few turnovers, especially as they brought that new lineup in. I think it's given them some new momentum.
New momentum and the fresh wheels and arms out there makes a big deal, but France now rejects it out of Hashimoto's hands, but I think that's still going to be a Japanese ball. But again, good pressure by France. They may be down by 6, but in this quarter especially have been really aggressive and caused a couple turnovers, one resulting in a point for them. So
yeah, especially now that they have no timeouts. You know, they're not letting that pressure get to them. They're keeping their cool and have managed to get that ball over half within the 12.
Shimikawa to Norimatsu to Hashimoto, and just like that, Japan is able to convert. So France ball is Schalman on the inbound. Valentin using his pick, trying to find some wide route. Now he decides on the other side. A scooper head to Jarlin, who's going to get contacted as he spins back with the ball to avoid that. Deciding on his options, waiting for a pick. And now we go to Schalman.
20 seconds left on that shot clock. We're going to see them attacking the key here together.
Jarlin Jim looking to take it in. Jarlin gives him a good pick, but he's unable to score as he goes this way and that. Trying to fight his way in, and it is a goal.
I believe that was a 4 in the key call there. So it's going to be France possession. Number 13 for Japan is going to be in the box until they score.
That is Shimikawa, one of Japan's leaders on the court. And now Jarlin taking his time. They're just trying to kind of trap him in there. Shimikawa, now he's directing traffic to his own teammates. France will score. Jarlin converting there, and with 53.9 to go, France down by 6. And a Japan inbound. Shimikawa gets it back. Now he's got some great speed going, and he's going to use that all the way through. Actually, he's going to stop up and decide to manage the clock a little bit as we don't have that much time. And he's going to use the rest of, as much as he can at least, of that as a lob over the top to Hashimoto. Reels it in and protects the ball from 2 France players converting, and now Shimikawa gets it back. So Japan playing a little keep away here, and now driving in wide.
They're looking to run down that 40-second clock, and then they're going to utilize a timeout at the end here so they can make sure that they get that last goal. They're going to sub Ike in so they have the height, and they'll be able to easily make that last goal.
And on cue, that's exactly what they do, and that is the benefit of having those timeouts in your back pocket. And I was almost going to ask you before, like, even if you're in trouble and you've used a few timeouts, is it ever good to just take the turnover knowing that you might need them later, or just use them at the exact time they're needed?
Yeah, I think the general mentality is use it when you need it. You don't necessarily know that you need it later in the game, so you might as well use it and avoid those turnovers while you can.
So it's Japan now off the inbound. It's Ikizaki surveying, getting the timeout. We've got 8 seconds left in this one. Going to try to manage the ball as well as he can here. 4, and they do convert. So France will have 3.5 seconds for a quick Hail Mary counter, or what do we have here, Jessica? It looks like we got a call.
So number 4 for France left the court there, so he's going to be put in the box. He wheeled out on that baseline, and it's going to maintain Japan possession, but now they've got 3 seconds to score that goal. So fortunately, Ike's got that height. Hopefully the inbounder can pass it straight to him and he can push it in.
Those long scoopable arms, hoping to wheel that one in. Oh, a long lob, and it actually doesn't go to him. It goes to Ikizaki, but he's able to convert in a...
No, referee's calling no goal on that. I think they're saying he was already out of bounds before he caught that ball. So
I don't think that was the original intended target, but he did pick it up.
Yeah, Team France played really good defense on Ike there, so he wasn't in position to just catch and score, so they were forced to give it down to Daisuke.
A long lob by France isn't going to work, and halfway through this one, Japan has expanded their lead to 6. They used one carefully crafted timeout, as you mentioned, near the end of that quarter, and it paid dividends. So France is in a little bit of trouble here, but they haven't lost their compete. I really noticed in that second half, they really upped their pressure, as you mentioned, trying to force those turnovers, and were able to force 2. So they haven't lost their spirit, that's for sure.
Yeah, I would say, especially since we're not seeing too many substitutions happening over for Team France. Those players have been playing the whole game. They're starting to get a little bit tired, I'm sure, but they're keeping that aggressive spirit up and staying in this game.
And how much does that short bench play into not just this game, but as the tournament wears on? You know, you don't have as many players as some of the other teams. We've seen Hevermat be heavily relied on as well. As you said, most of their players have been in for the entire game, and you don't have many other options, right? So how much does that wear on these players as the tournament goes forward?
Yeah, for sure. It's going to add up by the end of this week and weekend. You're going to see them even more exhausted. But usually you'll see teams like that taking opportunities to rest those athletes whenever they can. So if they have a matchup where they know maybe they've got an easier win, they'll probably take those opportunities to give those athletes a bit of a break.
And do you expect to see maybe France in the second half use a bit more of their bench given the score, or do you think they'll just roll with their horses here?
I think they're going to wait until that spread is a little bit larger. If Team Japan pulls away even farther, then maybe they're going to look to rest up those players and get them ready for their next game. But I think as long as it stays within, 7 or 8 point game, they're probably going to stay in this and be competitive.
As we've mentioned, France may have a little bone to pick with Japan as they've lost to them at the last 3 Paralympics. So they'd like nothing more but to at least close the gap. They have made it a pretty competitive game, and now Japan going over their strategy to start the second half, and Japan has used a bit more of their bench, and as we mentioned, when they had their substitutions about midway, just after, through the second quarter, it was like a seamless transition, and the people that came in were kind of adding to that offense already, so we'll see what kind of counter France has for that going forward.
Yeah, I think Team Japan just has a bigger team here as well, so they've got more players to pull from sitting on the bench. They're able to rest up their high pointers and bring them in fresh whenever they need them to come on in.
And how much of experimentation for you goes into this in terms of trying different things, or maybe trying certain players together that you may not try, say if it was at Worlds or the Paralympics? Like, how much is this, even though it's like a dress rehearsal and it is high level, how much experimentation goes into this for coaches and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to what the coaches are thinking, but my guess would be that this is kind of an opportunity for them to run a few different lines, see what works together, and, you know, the stakes aren't as high as they would be at a World Championships or a Paralympics, but they're still seeing that same level of play. These are international athletes, and this is a great opportunity for them to see how they match up with one another and what they can bring into those next big international tournaments.
Exactly. That's why this tournament is so huge. It brings all these world-class teams together, allows them to compete against one another, show themselves, show the fans, and show you listening at home how good this sport can be. We're almost ready to get underway, about a minute and a half as both teams stretch out a little bit, getting ready for this entertaining second half we're about to see at the Richmond Olympic Oval.
So while we have the opportunity, I want to thank a few more of our sponsors here. A big thank you to Vesco Wheelchairs, Moulton, Local 258 of IBEW, the Sheraton Vancouver Airport, the Hilton Vancouver Airport, the Marriott Vancouver Airport, World Wheelchair Rugby, Wheelchair Rugby Canada, and of course BC Wheelchair Sports, who is putting this tournament on. And also a big thank you to everybody that's tuning in to watch, all the people sitting in the stands, and everyone that made this tournament a possibility.
Yes, it's. I was mentioning to Adam yesterday, it's not quite the weather we are used to seeing outside during these tournaments. It's been a little bit of a dreary May and now leading into June, but
yeah, I'm not sure Vancouver's putting on its best show for all of these international athletes. Usually this time of year we're hoping to see something a little sunnier out there. It's a pretty gray day today, but you know, we're in a gym. I guess they're not missing out on anything outside.
At least it's hot on the inside, and in the action we're getting here, about set to get underway. Let's see if Japan makes a few substitutions, as a few of their players haven't seen the court yet. For France, how are we looking? Morel back in. And Nankin as well. Shulman off the inbound as he has done.
So as we go into this third quarter here, we're going to see them switching the direction of scoring. So Team Japan will be scoring towards their own bench now, whereas previously they were scoring away from it.
Ikeda Ikezaki slowing things down. Kind of locking things up in transition. He'll use as much of the clock here as he can. Now Hevermat slowly converges on him, but content to eat the clock. He's trying to force him out. But now he does convert.
So they forced number 10 from France to take that inbound now. I think that was a bit of a strategic play from Team Japan. Their low pointer is up high, so I think they're going to try and deny this inbound.
Morel off the inbound. Looking for a man, he can't find it. It's Thierret. But it says goes to Shulman. Now Morel gets it. Double teamed, looking for a one hook, but he can't find it. Still double teamed, he's in a lot of trouble. He's able to get it to Hevermat though. And Hevermat wheeling ahead. He's got 3 Japanese players on him, so he spins back to beat the heat. Now he gets away from Kurahashi as well. Hevermat in a bit of trouble as he's getting forced back out to center, running out of a bit of time here. Japan content to force him back. He's given a little bit of an outside route as Morel with a good pick there. And now he's just able to weasel his way in. Not sure how much time he had, but he must have been running tight there. And now Japan, a great lob over the top to Ikezaki. So a minute into this one, Japan still has the 7-point lead, so they've expanded it by 1 here. France in possession of the inbound. And Thierret looking for an option. He's got one double teamed, but he's able to find it short, and Thierret now looking for it back, but instead Morel gets it. Spinning away, great pressure by the Japanese as they're locking France up in their own court. Hevermat is able to get it to Chalman. He's contacted heavy now. He's triple teamed. He's got a little bit of support in behind him, but is he going to be able to beat this? He's locked up pretty good. Hevermat has it now as he bounces it. Looking for options. He's not really moving, but he's able to find Morel. Has to spin back, and again he's locked up by the Japanese. A nice good drop pass. Running out of time. One over to the top to Thierret. Fake pass. One more. And what do we have here, Jess?
Just looking to see what the call from the referee was there. I think he wheeled out of bounds on the baseline, so it's going to be a turnover.
Ike to Ikezaki. Back to Ike. He's got all sorts of time, and Norimatsu trying to lock his men up in the backcourt as France is going to inbound the ball here.
Japan really pressing on the deny for these inbounds. They're trying to stop France from even getting that ball in.
Thierret, Morel. Morel with it now. Ikezaki heavy on him, but he goes short to Thierret. A one scoop, but he whiffed on it. And Ike is able to convert on that turnover. So again, that relentless pressure all over the court by Japan, regardless of the score, and using their bench is really paying dividends here. And it's kind of like you see, especially, I'm a hockey guy, you got to see pressure all over today in modern sports. It's the only way it works effectively. As Morel with it, a little bit of trouble as he bounces the ball. One hooker over to Hevermat. He's able to find it, but Japan has some speed, but they're not going to be able to cut him off as Ike was on him. And now Norimatsu with the ball. Ikezaki just wheeling through the checks here. He's got 3 French defenders in their key, but they're not able to prevent him from scoring there. France off the inbound looking to transition. It's Morel. Able to get away and find a little bit of a middle lane as he's pursued, but a nice pick there by Thierret is able to give him some time and space, and Chalman helping him out as well. Spinning back, forcing to stop. Double team, looking for a pass. Does he find it? Yes, he does. Thierret, is he going to go one more? He goes the short drop to Chalman. Maybe not a great play, an ill-advised pass. Now forced to drop it off. Forced back was Morel, but he's able to get it to Hevermat. He's getting some heavy countdowns, knowing that the time's running short. And they're not able to convert there, I don't believe.
No goal. No, he hit that cone at the corner. It's going to be a turnover. Substitutions for both teams coming in.
And I love how from here you can hear how involved the Japan bench is with pressure, times on the clock, and it just keeps everyone engaged on the court, hearing that emotion, but also for the people on the bench keeps them engaged as well. So
definitely. We've got Kevin Orr as the coach for Team Japan sitting next to us, and you can hear him counting down for the guys. Kevin was actually the Team Canada coach at one point as well, and now he is the coach for Team Japan.
So we got Shimikawa now with the ball for Japan. Hashimoto out with him as well. And Shimikawa is able to shimmy in and put that one home. As Hevermat now working back the other way. Couple spins, finds the middle route now to the outside and back around, weaving his way through nicely. Able to get over center and fight off Hashimoto. He's got some serious speed going now, but he's thwarted by Ime. Now battled out by Shimikawa. Japan doing a good job of keeping their heads on a swivel, preventing him from finding that lane. Hevermat goes all the way through, trying to bully his way to the goal line. Not able to do it. Good defense by Japan. Forcing him out once more, trying to back in. Bounces the ball. They're running low on time again. Rejected away by Japan. Whose ball is it? And it is Japan's. Getting the turnover just as the shot clock expired. And Hashimoto is going to convert on that. So, wow, just marvelous play here by Team Japan in this third quarter. And their lead is up to 10 now.
Yeah, we're seeing France really struggling to score. They're making it over half within that 12, but to try and get that ball actually and score that try before the 40 is up, they seem to really be struggling with that in this third quarter here.
And we can see a few French players huffing and puffing here with the amount they're asked to be doing to work to get possession and taking so many bumps.
Yeah, once again, I think they're starting to get a little bit tired. These guys have been out there playing pretty hard for the last 2.5 quarters here.
And of course, I think they do they have both their coach timeouts still? Team France? Yeah, so they do have 2 coaches timeouts, although they've used their player timeouts. And Le Guen on the court now for France.
So a coach's timeout can't be used by the players on the floor. It has to be called from the bench. They might use that to give the guys a bit of a break, or if they needed a bit of a pep talk, the coaches might call it. But yeah, unfortunately, those bench timeouts can't be used in the same way that a player timeout can be.
They want some subs here. Le Guen is just in to the game now for France, so I doubt he'll be coming off. And Ogawa in for Team Japan. Ime out. And Sugano in as well for Japan. As is Jarlin. One over the top as Scooper is able to find his man. It's Morel. Back to Jarlin. And he's almost able to take it in himself by Shirakawa. And Ogawa, they can't stop him. So what a great play there by Jarlin, the freshman on the court, able to bulldoze his way through and convert for France.
I think they actually called that no goal there. Once again, he hit the cone on the corner. It's going to be a turnover for Team Japan.
Oh, that's too bad. It was quite the effort there by Jarlin. And Shirakawa now with Japan. With the ball for Japan, able to work his way forward. Shirakawa got Ogawa with him. Bounces the ball. Now he's triple teamed. He's in some trouble. One hooks it over to Ike and then to Ikizaki. Or, sorry, that is Ogawa. And Thioret to Morel. Trying to get a pick, and Thioret does enough to get him some space. Uses the outside route. And he's got Nankin with him. Morel decides to hang on to the ball himself. Wait for some picks. Nankin trying to help him out as well as Jarlin.
Number 23 from Japan leaving the court, so he's going to be put in the box there, and the France team will keep possession, making it a lot easier for them to score this goal, hopefully, now that it's a 4-on-3 situation for them.
So France with the inbound. It is a Team Japan penalty. Morel now receives the ball. Slowly negotiates his way through. Just waiting for his team to get set up in transition, I believe, as he will ultimately convert, and he does there.
So Team France forcing Japan to call that guy in the box, make him take the inbound there. It's going to be a low pointer inbound, so less range on that. That's going to be an advantage for them.
And Team Japan with it now. It's a one hooker over to Shirakawa. Takes some heavy contact from Jarlin, but is able to get away and scoop it up ahead. A dangerous pass there, but he's able to get it through to Ogawa. Jarlin back the other way for France. Spinning back and forth, trying to build some speed. He's not going to do it as Japan locks him up. A pass into the middle there to Morel. Trying to go for Jarlin, but he's not able to, or sorry, Nankin, but he's not able to field that one down, and it's a turnover. It's Ike. Back all the way through, and he converts. So a turnover by France there, trying to force a pass which was unable to be reeled in. And Ike now with it for Japan. Double teamed, using those long arms to gain him. Oh, he's dangerously close to going back over half court, but he's able to get it to Shirakawa. Shirakawa now has the middle lane, and he will score.
Ike confidently taking his time there. They have a 3-on-2 situation, but he's not worried at all. He was confident that they were going to be able to score that goal,
And
even if the shot clock went down.
And he was near that center line being pushed back. He wasn't too worried about that either.
Yeah, a lot of confidence there.
Jarlan takes that pass. Ogawa on him. Now he's triple teamed. But he makes a one hooper over the top. Morel reaches in with one arm to field that one down. Trying to find a middle lane. Use the pick to the outside as he bounces the ball. Spins off as he waits for a pick from Nankin. Gets one in and reversing his way into Jarlan. So a nice conversion there for France. Japan up by 11 now. 1:19 to go, third quarter. A scooper ahead to Shirakawa. A slow one as Morel's in his back pocket, so he's got to stop up. Just trying to take as much time as he can as, again, this quarter's running down. Jarlan now in to give him a secondary bump. Drops it back to EK. Triple fake with one arm. Now he pulls it around as he's double teamed, waiting for his man over the top, and that's Ogawa who converts.
Scoring with 55 seconds on the clock, setting themselves up for that last goal once again. In that last corner, they couldn't quite execute it the way they wanted to, so let's see if they can do that this time.
Jarlan working back, 50 seconds to go. Japan up by 12. Working his way over half court. He's able to find his man. A pump fake by Morel. He's going to find an outside route, it looks like.
.34 seconds left. Japan's going to be looking for that last
Someone's
goal.
air went out. There we go.
Equipment, you heard that one.
So it is EK whose tire went out, and he will have it replaced.
After the equipment, I want a bench timeout, please.
And we heard here that Kevin Orr will have a bench timeout after the equipment. Well, it was, as we mentioned, you do have them, so you might as well use them.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's going to discuss how they want to play this last goal here. Make sure they execute that for good practice moving into the future games as well, even though they have the lead on this one.
And for Japan, they've really just been, as we mentioned, relentless this whole way through. They haven't really changed their game, and that is the mark of a good team.
Yeah, the fact that we're seeing all these lines running through and they're staying competitive and giving that practice to some of the athletes that might not be on the floor as much in a more evenly matched game. I think that's a good strategy for Team Japan here.
Yes, they're taking this opportunity to fuel up and discuss strategies as we're heading into the end of the third quarter. Japan, an impressive one. They're up by 11 now. So expect more of that bench rotation to continue through, I would imagine.
We see Team France has given Heavernat a bit of a break too. I think maybe they've recognized that Team Japan has pulled away too much and they're ready to rest him and make sure he's ready for his next game.
And Japan does have it, but there's some contact before the ball was placed through. And it is a France ball.
So it looks like they pushed one of their Japanese players within the 2 meters. You have to leave space between the inbounders, so that was a turnover there because of the 2-meter call.
Jarlan with it, being pressured as the Japan bench wants. Now he's locked up, trying to turn one way, scoops it over to the top to Morel. Double teamed again. They want the pressure all the way down as there's just over 10 seconds to go. Morel will be able to find a lane, it looks like. Not quite yet. He's just going to eat as much time as he can, hopefully, as Ike trying to prevent him, but he does score with 3.6, and now they say safe, so I don't think Japan's going to go for a long bomb here. Yes, they do keep it safe as Shirakawa is just going to eat the rest of the clock, and we'll head to the fourth quarter with a 10-point lead expanded by Team Japan.
France probably feeling pretty good about putting a stop to that last goal there. You know, I think they're taking the victories where they can, and once again, Japan struggled to score that last goal, even though they had set themselves up using that shot clock to their advantage. But
and we had mentioned earlier playing the same game regardless and the experience that you generate. We saw that with Japan in a couple different ways. At the end of the or start of the second quarter, they used a timeout, players' timeout, or the first quarter to gain possession of the ball, and then just there near the end, you saw them use a coach's timeout. So they are really just making sure that they play this the perfect way, regardless of the score, and that is something that you have to respect.
Yeah, I think it's important to them that they make sure that they're practicing good habits because there's going to be some tighter games coming for them, and they want to make sure that their players are playing to the best of their ability regardless of what the score looks like.
And not much of a turnaround as we've got about a minute to go, and there's some players for both teams that haven't really seen the court too much, so wondering if they will get some action.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how both teams decide to play this last quarter here.
Japan, of course, looking to go to 2-0, and they're in pretty good shape to do that. France, their first two matches were pretty close, as I mentioned, having lost by 1 point in each of them, but this one is a little bit of a different story. And one team that I haven't seen is Great Britain, but I'm eager to see them as they kind of have a pretty spunky team. I haven't seen them in years, but...
Yeah, I had the opportunity to watch their game yesterday, and I mean, it was a great game. GB is rated as number 2 or 3 in the world right now, so... definitely one of the more competitive teams at this tournament. I think they're going to face up well against Japan if they have the opportunity to play them too.
Le Guen to Morel as France has possession off the hop in the fourth quarter. Shimikawa looking to prevent Morel from doing some damage. Breaks free, does Morel, directing traffic on the wide side as he wants a pick there. He does get it, and that is enabling him to score. So good communication there by Morel, and Valentin able to combine for a point for Team France. Is now Shimikawa working away from traffic, just determined to get by his check there. Now throws a long lob to Ikezaki, who does convert. And we mentioned the players that haven't seen the court. It's Sugano in for Japan, number 55, seeing his first action of the day. Jarlin in now for France, taking some contact as he works his way out of the back court. Getting free, bouncing the ball. Ikezaki contacts him, but he's able to get through. Bounces the ball, now drops it off to Morel, who's got a wide route. Can Japan shut him off? Yes, they can. Now he's being reached on from a few sides as he bounces the ball and drops it back to Valentin. Valentin, ooh, he's in a little bit of trouble as Shimikawa is on him. And now he's rejected from the other side by Ikezaki. He's getting a countdown in trouble, rejected out of his hands, and I think that's a turnover. Indeed it is. The second time it happened right at the buzzer, as Ikezaki has it now, and he will convert. So it's now France with the ball again. It's Morel. Back with it, gets it to Jarlin. Accepts some contact from Sugano. Is able to break free on the wide side. Gets a nice pick from Le Guen. Wasn't able to get much speed out of it. Trying to turn back the other way. Double team, but he scoops it over the top to Morel. Morel now. Bouncing it on the outside, trying to find a middle lane. He is able to. Japan thwarts him though right at the goal line. A double team over the top. Gets it to Jarlin, trying to burst his way through.
Looks like number 55 there left the court, so he's going to be put into the penalty box. Team France will have possession of the ball here.
Sugano in the box now, and France looking to capitalize, but they will make some substitutions. Tomohoshi in for Japan. Oh, that was a lob that no one expected to come, and it is going to go out.
Yeah, so they have 10 seconds to inbound that ball there. So it didn't go out of bounds, but 10 seconds from the inbounder when the whistle blows to somebody else's hand. So we had a 10-second call there. It's going to be a turnover for Team Japan. Inbounder for Team France looking a little frustrated with that play.
And now it's Ike using that great speed and big arms and converting with 6 minutes to go in this one. So Team Japan now has a 11-point lead. 12-point lead, excuse me. Is Legend back with it?
Team Japan easily scoring that goal, even down one player. Once again, just having that extra speed.
And you mentioned not having Hevernat in the lineup, and you can see the difference when they're breaking it out of the backcourt. Jarlin able to carry this one forward, though, and he's going to take it all the way himself.
All right, we're back to a 4-on-4 game here.
Now Japan looking for the inbound. Sugano. Ooh, risky passes. His man was in double coverage, but he's able to get it ahead. Now Sugano, not much speed as he's over center, waiting for help. He's got Sugano and finds him. Sugano now is just going to take that route he's been given. And it does seem like France has lost a little bit of pep in their step here to begin the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think they're letting that score get to their heads a little bit here.
Valentin, a nice pass over the top. Morel wheeling with it, but he's rejected away by EK. Now Tomohashi in to help him out, but Morel still has it. Locked up, trying to survey his options and find an outside route, which he now has. Will he be shut down? He's forced to spin back. Middle is locked up as he's bouncing the ball back, serving again, trying for that outside one more time. Now fakes to the middle to Valentin, and that's some nice execution there. Tomohashi over the top to EK. He's got that determination in his eyes as he's fighting forward. Now bounces one ahead to Tomohashi, and he's able to find the lane. Valentin trying to stop him, but he's not going to be able to.
It's going to be a turnover there.
So France with the ball. It's Morel working his backcourt, able to get it away from EK. Now he's trying to jam his way through. He's caught up in the backcourt. A risky pass, and indeed it is, as Ogawa picks it off and feeds EK in transition for the conversion. 4:30 to go. Fourth quarter, 43-31 for Team Japan, as they've kind of really asserted their dominance in this one as it's gone forward.
Jarlan's got a flat tire here, so an equipment break there. They're going to swap that out.
And you could see the dejection as that play was turned over by Team France.
Yeah, a little bit of frustration there. Those tough spots where, you know, a timeout would really come in handy, but they're forced to make those passes because they're out of those timeouts.
Yes, indeed, and back they come. It's Valentin able to leave it off for Jarlan. Jarlan now got some room, but he's forced to spin back and double contacted by Ogawa, being forced wide, and now comes in for the pass. As France trying to fight it over the line. What do we have here?
Team Japan out of bounds on the baseline there, so that's going to be a penalty goal for France.
Penalty goal for France, so now we have Japan with the ball, and it's EK the other way. Spinning off one check, bounces the ball and gets through center. Nice pick by Ogawa. He's able to find his man Tomohashi down court who converts, so 3:54 to go in this game most likely as Japan now reasserts that 12-point lead. And now it's Team Japan back the other way. Japan with a nice pass to Valentin, and he's able to convert. So good conversion there for Team France. Now it's Japan off the inbound. It's Tomohashi. He's able to reel it in, looking for a pass. He doesn't get much opposition from the France defense, and it's EK the other way. Nice swift move to get around again. And he is able to find his man, that's Sugano, for the conversion. again off the inbound for France. Goes short to Jarlan. Double team there in the backcourt. He beats the heat of two Japanese players. And now a third, a risky pass, but able to be fielded down nicely by Morel to Valentin. So some careful, clever execution there when it looked like they might not get away with it.
Bench timeout being called for Team France, allowing them to make some substitutions here. I think both teams are going to make subs here in the final 3 minutes and 16 seconds of the game.
Yes, it's good to get some other guys to see some action in this one. Japan's been doing it all game. France not so much, but I wonder if we'll see Valentin again. As this game is winding down, Japan just looking to put the finishing touches on what's been a very impressive effort so far today.
I think we're going to see Team Japan trying for that last goal one more time. Let's see if they can execute in this final quarter here. They seems to be something that they're practicing throughout.
Yes, indeed, as a long lob ahead. Hashimoto able to field that one down, use his heavy wheels, and for a 3.5er, he actually hasn't played that much in this game. He's been used pretty spottingly, but has been pretty effective and noticeable when he has been on the court.
Yeah, I think Team Japan just has those really talented and experienced high pointers on their team, so there's only so many opportunities to get those high pointers in. Obviously, they can't all play at the same time.
Yes, indeed, and that is the benefit of having a larger bench, is you're able to get that seamless chemistry going, and has been something important for Japan in this one, and they're hoping to carry it forward in the tournament. And we will get a inbound here, as it's a lobber head. Jarlin able to field it down, but he's triple teamed now, trying to break away. Ogawa trying to stop him, but he can't do it, and Valentin, as we mentioned, back into the game for France, and immediately makes his presence known as he converts there on one for France. And now it is Team Japan wheeling ahead. It's Hashimoto. Bounce pass to Sugano, and he's able to convert there. So a great play there by Team Japan in counter. And now it's Charlene in with a short pass. He's got his man locked up. They're in trouble here. Valentin able to get it. He's got Hevermat there. It's rejected out of his hands, but it goes to his man and rejected once again. Heverman can't field it down. Can Charlene save it? Yep.
Oh, that's a goal. So you saw he had the ball on his wheel there, so it doesn't necessarily have to be fully in possession on your lap, but if you have control over that ball, even if it's just being held on your wheel, that's still going to be a goal.
Sugano back with it. Pump faking one over the top to Hashimoto. Hevermat trying to stay with him. Shimmies and shakes and does find his way down the wide side, so Hevermat, as we mentioned, back into this one. France trying to communicate off the inbound. A little bit of a risky pass to Jarlin, who fields it down with one hand. Now gives it to Hevermat. And he's able to find his way in. So 2:05 to go in the final quarter of this one. Japan has that 10-point lead in their back pocket. Still got a few player timeouts. Don't know if they'll use them or not. Sugano off the inbound for Japan. Is able to find his man. That's Tomahashi. One more over the top to Sugano. Hevermat all in his back pocket. Now he gets double teamed with Jarlin joining the party. One hand scoops it over the top to Hashimoto, who finds it and will convert, but he's just taking a little bit of time off the clock before doing so, and now does. So 48-37, 145 to go in the fourth quarter. This one is Valentin back the other way. Jarlin. Short scooper to Valentin. He's going to get double teamed here as he's looking for options, and his option he finds is Hevermat. Usually a good option.
Hevermat coming back in with some new energy here. You see he's found his speed again, and he looks a little bit refreshed after that short break he took.
Yeah, he's definitely the straw that stirs the drink for Team France. As Hashimoto other way for Japan in transition. Got triple team, but he makes a great play down court to Sugano. Again, he's going to, I thought he might eat some clock, but decides to just take it in. And now France looking for the inbounder. Chalman. For France. Valentin. Getting outworked by Japan down low, but is able to find his way outside with speed. Forced to stop up. Pounds it to Jarlin. Gets it now. Working his way down through the middle. One more pass, and it's a good one to Valentin. 1 minute exactly to go. Couple possessions maybe for each team as Japan has reestablished that 10-point lead, 49-39. Sugano the other way, working back in his defensive posture. Now out over center. Pretty unobstructed here. So he just stops up, absorbs some contact from Jarlin. Now Shaman joining the party as well as he leaves it off for Hashimoto.
Japan setting themselves up again to use that time out and give themselves that new 15 seconds on the shot clock once this 40 runs out.
A long scooper over there. What a great pass by Hashimoto to Sugano, who fields it down. Back to Hashimoto. They're getting the countdown. Just trying to manage that clock as effectively as they can as Hashimoto is double teamed now. Just content to eat this clock. 20 seconds to go and they take their timeout. So we mentioned playing the full structure and that full capacity of your game. And again, Japan using that timeout effectively, even though they don't technically need to, but they're just trying to make sure they're as sharp as they can be, and they've played that way through the whole game.
So they're going to get a new 15 seconds on the shot clock. There's 20 seconds left in the game. So if they play this exactly as they are hoping to, I imagine they're going to score maybe with 1 second on the clock. That'll leave Team France maybe 6 seconds to try for that last goal, which is going to be tough for them.
Tomahashi off the inbound for Team Japan. A swift bouncer into Sugano. Just eats it and accepts it. Trying to hang on to the ball as he's pestered from all directions. Takes his last time out, and I think, is that their last one?
Yeah, so they did it again. They didn't want to leave Team France with any time at all, so they called that second timeout, another fresh 15 on the shot clock. Only 13 left in the game. Now those 13 seconds are all theirs to score that last goal.
So a pretty well-established victory by Team Japan, who will improve their record to 2-0. And we see why they are one of the top-ranked teams, as they are terrific. Balance throughout their lineup and constant pressure down court has led to this victory.
Definitely the advantages of keeping all of your timeouts till the very end of the game is then all of a sudden you can burn them and make sure you set yourselves up for success on this last goal.
In each of the last two games I've done, that's one of the reasons both teams had lost, is because they used their timeouts so early, and you see the impact on the game as it moves forward. As now it's Hashimoto working with it. He's going to get one last point. He's trying to eat as much clock as he can, but he's going to be forced to take it. I think with 3.2 to go, he does convert. So Team France will have to lick their wounds and get back to it here, going to 0-3. But again, I mean, other than then they're kind of losing their wind a bit, you can't really fault their effort. They've given it what they have, and they lost their other two games by 1 point each. So the record may be a little bit deceiving as far as France goes.
So Team France took a penalty there. They didn't allow Japan to get that last goal, once again leaving them even less time.
And that is a nice conversion by Hasegawa right on the horn.
And that's a win for Team Japan.
A very tidy one, top to bottom, using their whole bench, and as we mentioned, playing a similar fashion throughout the entire game. And that was a good morning wake-up call for us, and I hope for all of you as well listening to this one. And we will be back in a couple hours with another broadcast here for you. And for Colin Emerson and Jessica Kruger, we are saying good afternoon. And at least for now, come back and join us at noon when the next game will be starting up pretty quick here.
Have a great day, guys.
Was it super loud for you too, like in your earphones? I was trying to like turn it up and down a bit. I was like,
What are you doing over there? You were, like, what you were saying was really loud at the start, and then halfway through.
Yeah, I kind of